Hey, my name is Mike, and like many of you, I hit level 120 in Battle for Azeroth, so let's talk about it. I love launch day, and I prepped accordingly. I adjusted my sleep schedule and woke up about 5 hours before launch. I prepped a couple days worth of food like fruits, veggies, pork leftovers, and nuts, but it's a game launch, so of course I had some Doritos, a couple monsters, and Powerades, and jerky. So for the first time ever, we had a global launch for an expansion, meaning everyone in the world was playing at the exact same time. Despite the mighty task, I was hopeful, seeing as Legion's launch was practically flawless. Not long after the expansion went live at 6 p.m. my time, I was disconnected from the game. I spent a lot of time looking at this screen. I spent the first hour or so jealously watching some streamers play without issue while refreshing our WoW and Blizzard CS's Twitter. To be honest, I was getting pretty grumpy. My understanding was that the vast majority of people were experiencing these issues. Because of that, I stated that this launch was a disappointment and worse than WoD. However, after finding out that the majority of the issues had to do with the highly populated servers like mine, and that a lot of people were playing the game without issues, I had to rethink that statement. My friends on lower pop servers said they experienced some lag here and there, but overall they had no issues. So I got fed up just sitting around not doing anything, so I decided to go play some Diablo 3. I got my first ever seasonal character to level 70, which is my Crusader, which was pretty cool. I double checked to see if I logged into WoW, but no luck. About 2 hours later, I was tipped off on a fix, and enabling IPv6 was the answer to my woes. In I went, time to start closing the gap on the people who were on the entire time. And then I did the Stormwind scenario, and the NPCs weren't on the boat at the end because I skipped the cinematic. That was pretty annoying considering it was a bug I reported on the beta a couple of months ago. And since it happened a couple months ago, I forgot how I fixed it, so I died, and I ended up losing my Dark Moon experience buff, which just annoyed me even more. All I had to do was hearth. But after that, it was smooth sailing for the most part. While I was leveling, and even still today, talking to NPCs, especially vendors, is a bit laggy, so hopefully that gets fixed soon. It ended up taking me about an hour per level, which I didn't like that much. I was hoping that since I leveled twice on beta, I would manage 30 to 45 minutes per level. And due to the experience increase late in beta, I knew that the guide I'd made for leveling for myself wouldn't get me to 120 like it did before. What I didn't expect was that it'd end at 118.5, and I'd spend almost an hour and a half leveling from 119 to 120. For the first time in a couple of expansions, I wasn't one of the first few to get 120. If I hadn't been offline for the first 2 hours, I think I could have cracked the top 20, but oh well, there's always next time. Something else that surprised me was how I didn't mind the zones. Zolazar is trash and I'll hate it until the day I die, but Vol'dun and Nazmir were just as pleasant to level through the third time as they were the first. So when I got to max level, just like Legion, I was annoyed by the scaling. At 119, you can fight a hefty sized pack of ads, maybe solo and elite, but at 120, that same elite will two-shot you, and if you pull more than 2 mobs, you best have all your offensive and defensive cooldowns. So when I was finishing my quests, doing my war campaign, and eventually my world quests, things were going pretty slowly. But I feel like gearing took about the same amount of time as it did in Legion, may have even been a little bit faster. My guildies and I were able to walk into heroics at like 280 item level and started mythics at like 300 or something. But overall, the last week and a half has been fun. So far, the impression I get is that BFA is Legion 2.0. The things you do at 120 are pretty much identical to the things you did at 110. If anything, there's a little bit more to do just with the introduction of island expeditions, which after doing about 10, I'm still not that big of a fan of, but I do think that the PvP expeditions are going to get their own tournament in the future, and that tournament will be less popular than the Mythic Dungeon Invitational, but more popular than arena tournaments. Also, with the change to World PvP, I find myself going out and killing Alliance far more than I have in the past, and there's actual groups for World PvP because people want to get their bounties. One thing I'm a bit surprised with is how quickly I finished the war campaign. I thought it was going to be like Suramar where it takes a few weeks to do, but I managed to get revered on Sunday and just need to get around to doing the last quest. On the plus side though, unlocking the dungeons wasn't as long as Suramar was. I like that, but at the same time, I wouldn't have minded having to wait a week or two before getting in on those. So right now I'm sitting at 338 item level just spamming world quests. My guild leader keeps talking about dat 10 rep with Champions of Azeroth, but I do not have it in me to do a full clear every day. I do a full clear in Kaltiras for the Honorbound rep, but then on Zandalar I'll just do Azerite, resource, and gear upgrade quests. And even that feels like forever due to the lack of flying, which I hate more and more every day. I hate how inconvenient ground mounts are. One thing I want to talk about that doesn't really have to do with BFA, but it's just something I noticed about myself. I got 120 at like 6:30 in the morning and was planning on staying up for another 14 hours at least, getting as much stuff done as I could. If I went through with that, I would have been awake for like 36 hours or something. But 9 a.m. came around and some of my 120 guildies were logging off to get some sleep, saying they would come back refreshed and start the grind. Hell, one of the guys even logged off with 1 bar left until 120 because he was so tired. And I remember thinking, what are you guys doing? Come on, we need to do all these dungeons and world quests. We gotta go. We get all this done, experience everything. And then my freehold dungeon queue popped and I entered it. I got about halfway through the dungeon dungeon before I snapped back into reality and realized I didn't remember doing the first half of the dungeon at all. And I had this weird feeling like sadness, regret, and a bit of anger. I realized that I was playing a game that was supposed to be fun, but treating it like work. It wasn't fun at all. I was willingly going to deprive myself of sleep regardless of how tired I was and just power through all the content as quickly as I could. And I realized that I was partly doing this because I wanted to experience everything, but also because I have these YouTube goals I'm constantly chasing. I realized that the goals I have were making WoW not fun. Some of my favorite memories of Legion are from the first few days where me and my guildies ran dungeons together, where we chilled out on Discord together, where we talked in guild chat together. By just powering through everything as quickly as I could and getting past them in terms of progression, I was depriving myself of memories. So it was 9 AM and I went to bed for about 5 hours after being awake for 20. I woke up around 2 and felt fantastic. I don't know why I had that epiphany, but it really helped me put some things in perspective. My initial plan was to have all of my dungeon TLDRs out no later than Thursday of last week, but that was because I wanted to get them out so everyone else could enjoy the game more and I could be one of the first people to post live footage of the dungeons. All weekend I was like, dude, you need to post Morales and King's Rest because you do not even have beta videos for those. But I just let myself relax and enjoy the game, and I enjoyed playing the game a lot more. So I think moving forward I'm going to keep that mentality. My raid guides may not be out the very first day of raids or even the first week, I don't know. Whenever I feel like getting around to them, I will. I'm not even sure if I'll make Mythic raid guides this expansion because I hated doing that for like half of Legion, but we'll see how I feel when that time comes. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. I just wanted to keep the tradition alive of talking about the expansion after hitting max level. Feel free to leave your thoughts about BFA in the comments, I'd love to hear them. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and consider following me on Twitch. I was streaming a bit last week and enjoyed it, so I might do it more often. Thanks for watching, and I will see you whenever I feel like it.